I'm changing my tactic because I think we don't have quite as much time as I thought. So I'm going to read you a flash fiction called Postcards. Long before you died, you told me you planned to send your friends postcards from beyond the grave that said, "Having a wonderful time, wish you were here." You said you would choose a conventional photograph of American scenic grandeur, and you would pre-address and stamp the postcards yourself. This was in the early stages of your illness. I appreciated the sharpness of your mind, and your quote from Johnson that there's nothing like anticipation of the noose to strengthen a man's wit. I laughed and felt hopeful and said you wouldn't need to send the postcards for a long time. But after you told me, I worried that you would ask me to mail them. And whenever you came to visit, I thought you were bringing the postcards. I could imagine scenes where you asked me to mail them, and I said I wouldn't, and you got angry, and eventually I said I would. But this never happened. All we ever did was sit around, make jokes, and drink tea. Once you came over wearing a black top hat, black jeans, and a black shirt, and told me that your illness was about to get worse. I asked how you knew, and you said that always before entering a new stage, you had an impulse to change your hair, grow a mustache, buy offbeat clothes, use a cane, as though death might know your name, but not your face. As it turned out, the only thing you ever wanted from me was supreme restraint in leaving you alone when you began to die. You told most of your friends to go away, and they did, and you also said no one could cry at your funeral, and we obeyed. You liked junk food, so your family served macaroni salad and salami and popcorn. And we all stood around pretending to have fun. I assumed you'd been too sick to remember the postcards, but a month after you died, I got one that said, "Having a wonderful time, wish you were here." It was in your small, slanted writing, and the words transmitted your voice. For a moment, I could hear you speaking. The postcard was a color photograph of American scenic grandeur with mountains, sky, sea, and a meadow of flowers. When I look at it now, I remember what I used to imagine when I'd see you coming to my door, you asking me to mail the postcards, my saying no, a terrible explosion of anger, and then my saying yes. You offer me hundreds of postcards. They float from the palm of your hand. Silver. I'm always impaling myself on silver things my lover gives me when I'm not looking. He buys me silver rings and puts them on when I'm asleep. He buckles my waist with a silver belt, drapes me with silver necklaces, fastens anklets under my jeans, puts 6 earrings in the holes of my ears. Silver and never gold, because silver is the color of the accident one longs for. It's light that slants through rice paper shades, a face on the street that carries you through the solstice. You can't love someone without hurting them. That's what my brother told me. We were home from college, washing pots in the sink, and my brother had just gone crazy on LSD. He thought he could climb walls when he was only scaling a chair. He thought he could see the truth when he was staring at a shopping list. But one thing I knew, he said to me, you can't love someone without hurting them. I saw that when I looked inside my brain and all the cells were singing. They were singing, you can't love someone without hurting them. They were beautiful, those cells. All of them were made of silver. My parents were getting divorced just as I am now. Light was coming through the kitchen, the kind of light that makes you think you're in another century. Is it 5th century Greece? I asked my brother. No, he answered. It's the Wang dynasty. I wanted to hug my brother and say everything would be okay. His brain would stop singing. He wouldn't have to hurt people he loved. In fact, things didn't go well for him until he got a PhD in physiology and discovered that all those years of watching his own brain cells had paid off. Now he lives in Rome and writes papers with titles like The Neurophysiology of Indifferent Compatible Systems. Sometimes I wake at night impaled by silver and think about my brother far away in Rome. I think how he's found love and hurt a lot of people in the process. I also think of my lover in a small beige room surrounded by flowering trees. I lie in bed alone, wearing heavy silver. Why don't you take those off when you go to sleep, my lover asks, touching the scratch marks on my arms and neck. For God's sake, what are you doing to yourself? I don't answer because then I'd have to tell him about the random silver of his face the day he stepped out to meet me. Your face was like that, I would have to say to him. Don't you remember? It was the day before the solstice. People were racing around to buy presents, and you stepped forward to meet me. A week later, you gave me a silver bracelet. A week after that, you gave me silver keys. And none of this would have mattered if your face hadn't been an accident. Thanks.